Big 12 champion this year and the second seed here in the Blacksburg region. We'll ask Coach for an opening comment, and we'll open it for questions.
All right. Well, first of all, on behalf of the University of Oklahoma and our baseball program, we're extremely excited to compete here at Virginia Tech in the regional. We've had a lot going on back home, to say the least, with our Big 12 tournament, right on the back end of the devastating tornadoes that hit our community. They're just a few miles north of us, and we've been talking to our team all year about playing inspired, and we were picked to win the regular season Big 12 title. Although we have up to 6 freshmen that make a huge impact on our team, because of Jonathan Gray, because of Dylan Overton, because of returning College World Series participants and captains, Jack Mayfield at shortstop and Max White in center field. But we played well all year, and I tell you what, the things that happened around us last week were inspiring, to say the least. The way that the people of the state of Oklahoma have come together and have pulled together, supported one another. It was pretty devastating. On a personal note, my daughter, my son-in-law, and my grandson, my first grandson, Gunner, my only grandchild, live in Moore. And so when the tornado was actually hitting, everybody was going one direction, and I wasn't probably being the smartest person, but I found myself going in the opposite direction towards it because I wanted to get to them and make sure they were okay. My wife, Charlotte, who is here with me, was at school at the time, and she teaches, and so we knew our son was safe, and I wanted to make sure that they were safe. So that was probably about a mile from the actual school, Tower Plaza, that got hit. It was less than a mile from the movie theater that you guys have seen on all the national news. And so after holding my grandson and knowing that they were okay and watching it on TV, I went to try to help, because you can't do nothing. I mean, it's too hard to watch, and knowing it's right there. And everybody wanted to help, but we found ourselves really getting in each other's way, and we had to stay out of the way of the first responders. But our guys have been terrific. We forewent our batting practice time in our conference tournament to do community service. Some of our guys were delivering stuff. Some of our guys were staying in Norman. The University of Oklahoma has opened its dorms and its cafeterias and just its arms, basically, to help take care of the people of the great state. And I know I'm not talking much baseball here, but for us right now, it's much more than baseball. And I think that has really helped a group of young men. And I was talking to our president and our President David Bourne and our athletics director Joe Castiglione, that it's been a tremendous life lesson for our student athletes of what we've gone through, and the things that they've done. And we forewent our batting practice time, stayed home, and then we got on a bus, and we were going to have to go the long way just to get, I don't know, maybe 12 miles from our campus to our Big 12 tournament at Bricktown, a AAA ballpark. And as we were going the long way, our bus broke down, and we were sitting there at 10:30 at night, and we've been sitting on the curb for an hour, and I didn't have one player complaining, and normally you would, you really would. I mean, we always hear about student athletes and entitlement, and my guys were trying to, catch jelly beans at 10 feet away with their mouths and joking and just laughing, and they just understood, and they put everything in perspective. And so it's helped us to play very inspired baseball. Our team has played very inspired. You can ask me about the individual performances. I'll be glad to answer those. But we, on the way over, have been watching, and modern technology is amazing, but we're watching Channel 4 and one of our meteorologists, Mike Morgan. We're under tornado watch right now. There's one south of Norman heading towards our hometown, and then there's one north of Oklahoma City in Guthrie, and they're very educated, and they're keeping everybody safe right now. But for the last 30 minutes, that's what we've been watching. And so we're thinking about the people back home, and we want, that's most important thing. We want to play inspired baseball for the state of Oklahoma, and we want everybody to know back home that we're thinking about them. And then the outpouring from the concert with our own Blake Shelton to what our own Toby Keith. Everybody knows Boomer Sooner and Toby Keith go hand in hand, and you know what KD's done with the Thunder and the Thunder organization, all the corporations. Just it's pretty remarkable. And then outside of our state, we were eating the day before we left, my family and I with one of our football coaches and their family, and we saw some of the first responders from New York on the Twin Towers were actually in Norman. They were eating because they're being housed there in Norman. And, you know, there was a visit about how Oklahomans showed up there during that tragedy and how now they're down here, and they got pretty emotional. So a lot more than baseball going on in the Sooners' lives, and I really think in everybody's life right now.
We'll start with Mike.
Coach, you talk about that. Are you worried at all about it becoming exhausting or overwhelming at any point for your guys?
Well, you know, I'm really not. I think on Monday, you know, we won the Big 12 title and came back, and you know, I've said we've been so close so many times, and we've as a program in the last 8 years, as a head coach, you know, we've gone to Omaha, we've gone to Virginia Super Regional, which qualified us for Omaha. We've won regionals, we've hosted regionals, been to 3 super regionals, and we've done just about everything there is to do. One of the things that had kind of been out there that we haven't been able to achieve is winning a Big 12 title. And you know, as I get announced and we're Big 12 champs, we like hearing that. And so it, you know, I don't think it's been exhausting. I think Monday afterwards, you'd have thought we would have, after this pretty long drought, have celebrated pretty hard, but I think we did celebrate, but we did in our dreams more than we did probably awake. We were pretty exhausted on Monday and Tuesday, and you know, even yesterday in the traffic, our guys are asleep on the bus, but that won't affect us on the field at all. I mean, we'll be ready to go. This group is a band of brothers, and they're very, very close, and I've been very proud of them. You know, they have really endured. Our last 3 weekends, we had to go to West Virginia, play the Oklahoma State Bedlam Series, which we don't play at our home. We play at a neutral site at the Pro Parks in Oklahoma, and that thing draws, you know, 10,000, 6,000 a game, depending on Tulsa or Oklahoma City. Then we had to finish at Kansas State, and that was tough because we watched them dogpile in front of us. It was between us and them, and they ended up winning the series and got to dogpile in front of us. Within 1 calendar year of us winning the Big 12 title, we had watched Missouri last year defeat us in the championship game. We had gone to South Carolina for a super regional and watched them dogpile for the right to go to Omaha, and then we'd watch Kansas State dogpile because they won the regular season title. So I think that we were not to be denied regarding what has happened around us and the inspiring things that have happened, and our opportunity to play Kansas in the championship game, which we played very well in, to be able to dogpile.
I'm glad your family made it through there okay. Hope the house made it through okay too. Just want to get what's your mindset in terms of who you start on the mound Friday and Saturday with your 2 great pitchers there?
Well, you know, it's, I don't know, number 16, 17, as far as regionals for me personally. And the one mistake that I have seen, and I've probably been guilty of it myself, is overcoaching. I tell our team that I think, you know, good coaching is coaching your guys up in the fall, teaching them fundamentals, and early in the year figuring out who should be on the field and who shouldn't, dealing with injuries, motivating, getting on to them at times. Some of our practices can be pretty tough if we don't play well, but you get to a point where you just turn them loose. And I give them the analogy of being a jockey, you know, on a really good thoroughbred. And at some point, you just got to turn them loose. You know, you got to let them go, loosen the reins and let them go. And I call it getting out of their way. And so that's where we're at as a team. And I don't want to overcoach them, to answer your question. I don't want to overthink it and think one guy over another. In the Big 12 tournament, Game 1 was important against Baylor. Our conference is very tight, much like the ACC. anybody on any given day. And so we just, who's to say that that Baylor wasn't going to play better than Kansas State in our pool play, much like the ACC's pool play. We knew who we were playing on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And Kansas State waited on Saturday for us, but I wasn't going to hold Gray back for that. So we roll them out as we, see fit. Gray's our number one. Dylan Overton is not a number two. He would be insulted by that. And then Jake Fisher. All Jake Fisher, our number three guy has done is, turn around and pitch great in Bedlam and then beat Kansas State, who's a host, on back-to-back Sundays. So I think any of them could throw and give us an opportunity for victory, but I don't want to overcoach the thing. And so my thoughts are everybody in this regional is very, very good. And I think if you sat there and said, well, this team's going to win the first game and this team's going to win the first game, you're going to lose some money if you happen to bet on that. So, which we can't bet, by the way. It's the NCAA. Throw that in there for compliance. They did travel with us. But you just don't know. So for us, we want to get to the winner's bracket game, and Jonathan Gray probably gives us the best opportunity to do that. And then, if we can get into the winner's bracket game, Dylan Overton would be a really good guy to go to, our lefty, to hopefully put us in a position where somebody would have to come back and beat us twice. And then, our little bulldog's what we call him, because all he does is follow a number one pick in the country and potentially a first rounder, maybe second rounder in Overton. And, he hadn't had a scout talk to him yet, and he's a senior, but he just goes out there and carves people up. He's a bulldog. So he's just kind of waiting in the grass, waiting to jump. And, he's the kind of guy that would deny that it'd ever go to a fourth game. And then again, if we get in the loser's bracket, which we did last year in Charlottesville, we have enough arms to battle out of that. I said that last year when we lost our first game to Appalachian State, if that is the correct pronunciation, that we are far from done. And I made a very bold comment saying I would be very surprised if I wasn't sitting in here talking to everybody after having won that thing. So, there was bulletin board material galore, but we had the arms to do it. And we will again if we have to. We have tremendous arm strength in that bullpen, and we have tremendous arms in our 4 and our 5 starter.
When you look at Coastal Carolina, what jumps out at you?
I think they mirror the University of Oklahoma a lot in their style of play. I think that they play with a chip on their shoulder. I think that they have tremendous NCAA experience. When you look at what Coach Gilmore has done with that program, and I know they have some new personnel in there that doesn't have the experience, but overall as a program they do. And one of the things I know in coming back to Oklahoma after being an assistant was restoring that player, that one player tells the next player. We have 4 freshmen, and then we have 2 on the mound that make huge contributions. Well, this is all new to them, getting on a charter and flying straight in a regional and dogpiling, at a Big 12 tournament. But players can teach players how to act and what to do and what to look for, and that's very important. Well, Coastal has that going for them, and we understand that. So absolutely a 3 seed that we cannot overlook. And I don't want to speak on behalf of Virginia Tech, but Connecticut is absolutely as good a 4 as there is, in the country. Absolutely. We played them last year, and we did not have success against them last year in Oregon in a tournament. And so we know how good they are too.
Thank you very much, Coach.
All right. Thank you.